Thanks for inviting us in. It's now 11 o'clock and we begin this evening with breaking news. A teenager critically injured in a shooting here in Indianapolis. Want to give you a live look at the scene along Biscay Square. This is near 71st and Michigan Road on the north side of Indianapolis. Tonight, police are confirming to 13 News that police officers found the 16-year-old boy around 9 tonight. In the last 45 minutes, police have told us there was some kind of fight before the gunfire. Not clear yet what that fight was about, but police call the shooting targeted. Police are now urging anyone with any video or information that could help this case to come forward. You'll be able to see any breaking developments on this investigation on WTHR.com and on Sunrise starting tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock. Tonight at 11, we're learning more about Indiana's plans to potentially charge drivers on the interstate to help fund a multi-billion-dollar rebuild of Interstate 70. Our Alex Almanza has been digging into newly obtained documents. So, Alex, what did you find?
Well, this plan lays out a border-to-border tolling infrastructure plan. As you can see from this map right here, from Terre Haute all the way to Richmond. This is about 150 miles border-to-border tolling infrastructure, and this is something that we've known for months, over 150 miles. What things start to get really interesting is these new documents that we obtained this afternoon show how much Indiana might be looking to charge drivers for using I-70. So passenger vehicles are looking about 10 cents per mile. So that's dependent on how many miles you use. Of course, there are going to be multiple checkpoints throughout I-70. So if I wanted to drive from Terre Haute all the way to Cloverdale, that's going to be about 40 miles. 40 times 10 is going to be about $4 for that trip. Now, things are going to get a little bit more expensive for larger trucks. Think about some of those freight trucks coming through. Large trucks, 54 cents per mile. So a trip from the Illinois state border all the way to Ohio could cost a truck about $80. Now, this is something that we've asked local and out-of-towners, and they each have their own opinion on this new tolling infrastructure.
I feel like that would add up. No. It sounds like a little bit, but it would add up when I'm going to work every day.
I think they can actually pose a lot of scamming opportunities. I know I myself have gotten scammed like, hey, you cross this toll road, you need to pay us, you know? And I just think a lot of people haven't caught on to that yet. I just think it can create those opportunities that really aren't necessary.
I'm not sure what a toll usually costs, but I think if it's like on the interstate, you're driving around, like 73 miles per hour. I feel like that should be pretty decent.
Now, the proposal still needs federal approval, but state planning documents do show tolling could begin as early as 2029, Scott.
So, Alex, I think our viewers know that this is something Indiana has been looked at for a long time. Why now?
Yeah, and that's an important question. State leaders say the timing comes down to money. Gas tax revenue isn't keeping up with the cost of rebuilding aging interstates like I-70, and tolling is one way that the state could close that gap.
All right, we'll continue to follow that story. Alex Almanza, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Sean?
All right, well, it was a record-tying afternoon across central Indiana. 72 was our high today. Average is 49. We're going to be warmer as we go into Tuesday afternoon, and we're still very balmy at this hour, courtesy of a south wind. We're still in the mid-60s, some 20 degrees warmer than this time last night. Here's the breakdown for the bus stop. There's going to be some patchy mist. We'll start out with some clouds around. We'll finish the day soaring into the 70s. A lot of your daytime is going to be fine. We'll be watching far northwest and northern Indiana into northern Illinois for storm initiation. That is going to be very late. We'll let you know when the storms get into the central part of Indiana coming up in the forecast.
All right, Sean, see you in a little bit. Tonight, police are voicing frustration about a string of violent crimes in the heart of our city. That string includes a pair of shootings, the first happening early Saturday morning. Police responding to Pennsylvania Street near Washington Street. Officers arrested a 29-year-old man that they say shot and critically injured another man. Then early this morning, a woman shot near Meridian in Maryland. Another woman arrested. Commander Shane Foley told us officers were actively patrolling all weekend.
It's frustrating. At the same time, we have millions of people who visit downtown every year and don't experience any issues. We're thankful that apprehensions were made and arrests were made in all three incidents that we're discussing, and hopefully those individuals will be held accountable for their actions.
Commander Foley went on to tell us that IMPD always brings in additional officers for big events. Tomorrow, Mayor Joe Hogsett, along with other IMPD and city leaders, will be talking about plans for youth safety ahead of spring break. The Speedway Town Council just signed off tonight on a sewer rate increase to help fund an expansion at the wastewater treatment plant. Town officials tell us the project is required by the state of Indiana and will include new and upgraded systems and facilities. They told us the current minimum monthly charge is around $26. That will now go up by approximately $11. Council President Nick Sturgeon says that's lower than they initially thought.
The way that the law works is once we introduce that fee, we can't go higher. So we start out high hoping that the bids would come in low, which they did. And so we were able to reduce that from the initial rate or the initial introduction of this rate increase.
So in all, this project is expected to cost $15 to $18 million. They're not sure when the increase takes effect. People are urged to call 211 for resources if they do need some help paying their utilities. Here's a look at the other stories making headlines right now. Tonight, a person is injured after a police chase ended in a crash involving a stolen car. This happened on I-65 just south of Whitestown. INDOT cameras captured the wreck around 1:30 this afternoon. Troopers say one person inside the car was injured, but did not elaborate on the severity of their injuries. No officers were hurt. Tonight, we're getting new insight about a crash that happened Saturday night here in downtown Indianapolis that injured an IMPD officer. It happened near Meridian and Louisiana Street. Court documents say an officer approached the man in his car after he stopped in the middle of traffic, blaring his horn. Police say the man drove off, knocking the officer to the ground. A security guard was also hit by the suspect. The driver was arrested, allegedly admitting to police he was drinking and using cocaine hours before it happened. According to online court records, that man is due in court on Wednesday. A mother charged with neglect after her 7-year-old son died in a fire just pleaded guilty. Kirsten Bauer's son died after their home in Arlington caught fire last June. Bowers and 3 other children made it out alive. A change of plea hearing is set for April. Investigators just identified a body found in Greenwood. The coroner says 70-year-old Werner Gadshian disappeared from New Whiteland more than 6 months ago. We're told he had dementia. Friday, someone found his remains in a drainage ditch along State Road 135 about 5 miles from his house. Investigators tonight are now working to determine how he died. Remember, you can find all of our latest local stories streaming anytime. Just scan this QR code on your screen. A Brickyard kind of birthday. IndyCar heads to Washington, D.C. for a race honoring 250 years of the United States. We'll take you to D.C. as organizers lay out plans for some pomp with a side of horsepower coming up. Plus, President Donald Trump taking questions tonight about the conflict with Iran. He's talking price tags and timelines. We've got that story next. Sean?
And it's been the wettest March on record to start. Heavy rain on the way. How much to expect and when it gets in here in the forecast.